Hey everyone, welcome to POPXP. And before the show starts, make sure to click that subscribe button and click the bell to get notifications when we go live and we upload awesome new content. And don't forget, if you can, make sure to share our stream on all your social media outlets. We appreciate it, and thanks for helping us grow the POPXP channel.
Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's the brain of the mainframe here with POPXP, and we've got another episode of Popped or Not Reviews with the teen sensation Billy Tucci and the magic man of film and television, Mr. Adam Lawson.
El Diablo.
But guys,
gentlemen,
we're short a few kernels. We're short a few kernels in our little buttery popcorn.
Yeah, we're missing old
Blevins.
He's already ate his bag of popcorn instead. Instead of coming here, he said, "I'm going to eat the popcorn," and he bailed on us.
He's like, you know what? It's not worth it. He's too cool for school. But no, Blevins is in the middle of the remodeling of his studio, and I believe he got caught up on some of the setup. So he will be definitely joining us for the WandaVision episode 7 review.
Yes,
which hopefully we will get done in a little sooner than that. But gentlemen, episode 6. Wow. What the frig just happened? As usual, Mr. Lawson, you always kick it off great, sir. Thoughts?
I mean, I feel like this episode was such a fun payoff, especially with the costume and the Halloween night and the old Vision costume with like those yellow shorts and her in the Scarlet Witch. I mean, that was fun. What a great choice to put people in those costumes and in fact have like a little cosplay inside of a costume show, you know?
Yes.
So fabulous choice. And I feel like this is where it was building to, where you could kind of see all along, right? Is the Scarlet Witch would be expanding her power. They keep alluding to she's as powerful as Thanos. And, you know, with her expanding Westview, now you realize, this is how they're going to increase the stakes anymore. Because this was my thing, too, that I was wondering. It's like, what is the stakes? Is she just trying to maintain the bubble? Or is the bubble going to get bigger? And by pushing the bubble to get bigger, they escalated the stakes, I think, the best way possible. And also, too, with Vision trying to escape and then getting pulled back through, made you realize that, wait, maybe Vision himself is still under the mind control that everyone else is, right? Mm-hmm. That even as he stepped out of it and, you know, he was not in his Halloween costume, but was in the modern Vision, though it does beg the question about, was he really dead then? Because he stepped out of Westview, or at least for a moment, he was almost out of it, but then it, you know, pulled him back in. Is he really dead? Because he didn't have the wound in his head outside of Westview. So that's a big question that's still lingering for myself. But I felt like this escalation and her expanding her power really took the excitement for me up. I mean, it was just so fun to see that, you know, with this crazy Halloween night. I mean, I still hate the Keystone Cop CIA /sword silliness. I mean, it's like they have machine guns, but they're like, all right, guys, let's go get them. It's like, these are people who have machine guns, which means they kill people, which means you don't act like a child.
Yes.
But we have, you know, back to the, you know, bad acting troops with just ridiculously notions, and that Kat Dennings just quickly cuts through that sword firewall to find out the truth. Right. It's like, oh my gosh, please, can we find another way to be experiencing what's the outside besides like an astrophysicist who also happens to be a better hacker than any living hacker on Earth?
Exactly.
She back-pocketed that skill along with astrophysics, because I have no idea how those two are connected. But what's happening inside of Westview, the escalation and the madness, I'm just like edge of my seat.
Creepy. Yeah, I agree. About you were talking about whether Wanda, you know, about the expansion of the bubble. Yeah. I think the more she starts becoming aware of the real reality of her life, that she seemed to be all in denial, obviously, for the first 4 episodes at least. She doesn't care. She is going to do whatever she can to keep him alive, to expand that universe that bubble that she created. She doesn't care about those people, but she cares about Vision. I loved when he broke through, and as you were saying, there wasn't the head wound, you know, from the gem, from the stone being pulled, but I loved how he started to decay,
right,
to fall, to die, because he is Remember they said
Well,
decaying matter.
Did you think that she was dying, or did you think that it was Westview was pulling pieces of him back? What did you think?
That's where I think they're holding you, though, right? Because that's my question was like, wait a minute. Is she so protective because she knows that she can't fully resurrect him in the real world, that she had to create this bubble, which is basically, like he's in this petri dish where he can survive? Was he being sucked back in, or was he dissolving and basically deteriorating back to,
This is a good point, Billy. This is a good point, Billy.
Yeah, I just remember that because other people have come through.
Right,
correct. And they're like, are you okay? But as soon as he started crossing, and I know it, for them pulling it, was it the reality, like the life force, if you will, or her power is ebbing. So once he starts coming into the real world, that's where you see him starting to break up, to start to decay and rot.
Yeah.
Before our very eyes. Whatever it is, it was fun. As you said, it was a lot of fun.
So fun, right, Billy?
Yep. And creepy when he started walking to what's past here, when he started walking out to the field and seeing the people on the other side, the people on the outskirts of Westview that are there, or Westfield that are there. Westfield, what am I?
Westfield.
We're doing a lot of shows.
Westview. Oh, jeez.
It's Westfield.
But I love it too. I love the idea that there are no kids here in Westview, and now there's a ton of kids.
Now there's a whole bunch of kids.
Kids to play with.
And what makes you think that? What are you thinking now when it thinks about how the powers, how it's escalated from her trying to hide her powers to now her kids have powers and are running around using them? Why that change? That's the one thing. I don't fully get the. I shouldn't say fully get. I guess I don't fully love the mythology on that, right? Because if her powers are out of the bag, has she just made it so that people ignore them? But it seems a little silly.
And are her children like everyone else there? Are they someone else's children? Are they real children? Or if not, then what are they?
Well, it's hard to say because, if you look like the outskirts of the city, right? It's almost like, all right, she can't focus on creating their lives. So it's like they almost go and pause, right? They're like,
but
you can tell they're still conscious.
Yes,
the tears coming down the woman's eyes. But it's like, all right, did she just bring in more people from the outside world? Or did she already expand it and they just don't show that part to get more neighborhoods and families in? That's the thing. It's like, because when she left the dome, right, she had to open the dome. So that's where, if you go back to Vision and him forcing his way through, that's where you're kind of like, wait, is it just bringing him back in? Is it the defense mechanism that it's killing him because, nothing can exist outside from her world to that world? Or, what is it doing? We don't know yet. But, but then obviously it's like, her kids now have powers, during this and exposed. But it's like all of a sudden, though, it's like, all right, everyone stop. And then they're all just like, all right, everything clicks into play. One kid's like, here, daddy's here. Now we're knowing what their powers are. She sets in and it's like, no. And then it expands out. And now she just starts absorbing everything back into it. So now it's even giving us more characters within the dome, which will be interesting to see.
Which I love. And did you get this feeling too, Billy, that the people who were frozen was, she essentially froze people herself, that you feel like it's like almost about your own brain, right? You can only focus on so many things. And as soon as she's not thinking about them or close by them or, needing them to be functioning for her reality, that they freeze. Yeah. That was my feeling. If she's not near it or consciously kind of manipulating the reality, the people just go into freeze land. Did you feel that?
I totally see that. And if you saw, but also now, if you saw the little teaser today that they ran for tomorrow with her two boys come upstairs, and her one son who seems to have that telepathic, power that he has, my head hurts. I think was he saying, I'm hearing things. I'm hearing voices. Are these people that are trapped trying to communicate through her son?
I love that because didn't you think it feels like the way this would have to circle around is her children ultimately, her children and Vision ultimately become the thing that convince her to stop, right? Because clearly not the yahoos from Sword aren't going to convince her of anything. Rambo's, none of those people have any emotional sway, right?
Right.
But it's when her son comes to her and says, I can hear what's in these people's heads, Mom, and you're doing bad things to them. Or when Vision says, I can't love you because of what you're doing to these people, that then she has the crisis of faith, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
you built this fake world, to keep Vision, but then now you're going to lose him, on an emotional level.
Yeah.
And so you'll lose anyways, right?
Yeah. And also
And so-
the children, when you talk about reality versus not, the children, she did give birth to those two babies.
The kids are real. They make that
real.
perfectly clear. The kids are real.
Like, I guess they're her kids and they've just aged. Who knows? Like I said, this is the fun part about it all, that we're in the middle of this activity, which is so great.
Definitely one thing though that just it happened and then it disappeared, and I mean, it's something to look at. I mean, what was this about? Really? I mean, all of a sudden we just see him and then he turns and he looks dead. But it's also at the time that Vision's pulling out of the dome. So is signifying something? Is this a sneak peek here of who we're really dealing with? Is this, is he back from the dead? What's going on?
Well, this Petro wasn't killed, was he?
If you
but he's playing as if he did, right? Because he knows the information from the childhood, that it's a recast, not a new story, right? Is how they defined him. And wouldn't you say this zombie moment is similar to the Vision zombie moment, right? Because Vision's dead and so is her brother.
Yes.
Right. And so it's like her brother was brought into the world as well. Like in this world, she can be with her brother, albeit recast somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And then Vision, right, who are both in the real world dead.
Yeah. Well, so what do you think this signifies, though? Do you think this just signifies that, hey, her brother's not really here? Did she lose focus on him because of something going on, and now you're just seeing who he really is, almost like in a zombie state that she's brought back? Because look at the blood. Did you guys notice that there was blood on
shot,
him?
Right?
Yeah, he was shot in the movie.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So what does it make you think then? I think that I don't think it's a zombie state, because it matches. It's because it's so similar in state to what the look of Vision, right, when he had the hole in his head, is a very similar vibe. At least that's what I'm feeling from it. And that those two characters we know are dead in the real world, but are somehow alive in Westview, right? Whereas everyone else, remember the guy that Paul Bettany was dealing with at the office, who's like, oh no, I've got to call my sister. And he had like this break in the mind control.
Yeah.
You realize that guy wasn't dead. He was a guy who was a resident of Westview who's been taken over, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so as a result of that, they're the only two people in here who seem, truly dead on the outside of Westview.
Yeah.
Right. So that was my immediate feeling as soon as I saw that image is, he's also dead, like Vision is. And in this fantasy world, she gets her husband back, or her now husband, but her lover back, and her brother, like the two people she really lost along the way. And she's willing to have other people suffer to get them back, to build this fantasy. Which is what makes, I think, Scarlet Witch such an interesting character, because the intention isn't evil, but the method is.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Is she a mutant? Is Scarlet Witch a mutant? Are they mutants? They are, aren't they?
Well, technically, yeah. If they're mutants.
So,
yeah, I mean, all the Marvel superheroes, as long as they have powers, technically you're a mutant. But I think with
mutants refer specifically, like Thor isn't a mutant.
Right. Thor's not a mutant.
Neither is the Incredible Hulk a mutant. A mutant refers to somebody like Wolverine who was born with a modification.
Homo superiors, they are.
Yeah, Homo superior. Yeah.
But they are. They are mutants. Her and her brother are mutants.
They weren't born that way. No, it was the stone.
No. Yeah.
Was it?
Yes.
Yeah, the mutant really comes from the X-Men universe.
Yeah,
everybody else.
That's my bad. I apologize. Yeah. I thought that they were like X-Men. I thought they had the.
Yeah, X-Men. No, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I don't know what I was talking about, because the mutants are classified more with the X-Men universe, and then because like Captain America, he wasn't born that way. You know, Bruce Banner wasn't born that way. Peter Parker wasn't born that way. They all gain their powers from an accident or an instance. Mutants that's kind of like the story. Like we have genetic, you know, there's mutants, mutants. Abilities.
But now Quicksilver has had 2 changes, right? Because in most depictions, he is a mutant, a human born with in it superhuman powers, right? Yeah. But then kind of in 2015, he was a product of high evolutionary, right? So he became so I technically you're right. Quicksilver classifies as a mutant, unlike Peter Parker. You are correct. Yeah.
That he was originally a mutant. You know,
it depends. It depends on which timeline or which storyline you're talking about.
Yeah, because he was originally a mutant.
Correct. And actually, I think wasn't someone in the comments could probably correct us, but isn't Scarlet Witch? Because Scarlet Witch is
also a mutant. It is also technically as a mutant. She's not a witch.
Well, they're Magneto's children, aren't they? Is it Magneto's children?
Yeah, I think they're Magneto's children, so they're mutants
originally. Yeah, but anyway, that's neither here or there because we're in the Marvel universe, the cinematic universe.
Here. Wasn't that actor in the X-Men universe?
He was in the X-Men universe. I think what they did is for the crossover. Now that Disney has the rights to all that, is they brought in ultimately really the more popular Quicksilver actor and had more of a pivotal portrayal of the character because the Quicksilver in Age of Ultron it wasn't good. I mean, he was, you know. I
don't know what that character was. It was
he didn't do much.
Yeah,
but they fixed that. But
actor, but wasn't that now? Please correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't that actor the Quicksilver that the actor plays him now? He was in an X film, wasn't he?
That's right. He is a mutant.
Yes.
What's odd about it is Quicksilver is technically a mutant from when he started. Then there was this weird storyline for a while that he was the creation of high evolutionary, like a genetic experiment. But in the MCU, if they're picking him up from where he was in the X-Men films, he's technically a mutant. So he's
that's what I'm saying. How interesting, you know, that here's this different actor playing it from the X films. Are they trying to cross?
Yeah,
it's universes too.
I mean, he was rad in the X-Men films, and I think he was like a fan favorite type. I think, you know, and so I think it's a great
his portrayal of how he's acting in this series is very inclusive to how he did it in the X-Men.
Yes, I agree.
So he's taken over the role of the previous guy that played Quicksilver. They brought this actor in, obviously, because now they are going to be introducing. I mean, it's a perfect point to kind of merge those two cinematic worlds because, I mean, you have, you know, the MCU, which is very consistent with their storylines. Now everything flows. The Fox version of things was not as consistent with stuff and kind of jumped and did different things for each movie. But now I think they're trying to solidify everything really into one solid universe.
Right, because essentially Scarlet Witch is technically a mutant. She's not a witch in the sense that she has pagan powers, right?
Correct.
Now the thing about it is in the comic books, you know, her powers have been always a little abstract, you know, because she was a mutant, and initially she had kind of this hex power where she could like prevent probabilities from happening, and then later that kind of became illusions in people's minds that she could do. I don't know if you remember this, but obviously in the films they've turned her into something much. Like she's Thanos powerful, so she's
overpowered,
this super powered character, and they don't really talk about where that comes from. They just kind of let that power grow. Like WandaVision has nothing about her origin, and even in Age of Ultron, it wasn't great. But that's I think that character from the comics was always a little vague as to how and what she did, and so they just. Taken off from there.
They've done really well with developing Scarlet Witch. You know, she's now a household name where she wasn't before. You know, comic book fans would have know about her, but not so much now. Non-comic book fans know about Scarlet Witch. You know, from these shows and things like that. And I mean, they've done a great job with this series, I think personally, and I'm really looking forward to episode 7. I mean, you guys have any predictions for episode 7, which will be premiering tomorrow?
Howie?
You got one? I think you've got one.
I got one. I'd like to see, WandaVision, I don't know, have her walk into an episode of Two Broke Girls.
Oh, you Kat Dennings coming when she
And
comes
have
in.
Kat Dennings
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I want her to get sucked in, or I want her to go in the tunnels underneath to try to. Well, heck, if she's doing all this other stuff, being an astrophysicist and being the world's greatest hacker, as you are
Just quickly.
Why not? She's like, I'm going down there. Let's go down there. And then she goes down and she comes up and she's in a scene and she's wearing her waitress outfit and everything from Two Broke Girls. That would be. I think that'd be funny. And why not? We're in the middle of the, we're episode 6. We're technically, well, now the episodes are going to be an hour long coming forward. So we're technically right center in the middle of the second act. So,
Sure.
and we're having fun with it. So, and this episode left us with more questions and answers. So why not have fun? That's my prediction.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 predictions. The one I hope for as Adam as a person is that when the Westview expanded, it also killed Rambo, Dennings, and Jimmy, and they disappear, and then we never have to see them again for the rest of the season. That's my personal, that's what I would do. But what's probably the realistic prediction is all of those characters are then brought in. Jimmy, who we saw at one point inside of Westview, anyways,
Yep.
that they get brought inside of Westview, have new characterizations inside of it, and they are now working as a squad from inside of Westview to help take down Wanda.
Yeah.
Is the way I see that where that's going to go.
Do you think if that happens, do you think that they'll learn to go into Westview by seeing themselves on an episode of the TV show? And we're there.
They'll magically have a device that prevents them from losing their thoughts or something, and they can just go in. Who knows?
They're going to walk around with the Magneto helmet.
Something.
Yeah, I mean, I that's what I
The Magneto helmet. What's the
It makes perfect sense, though, if you think about it,
helmet.
because they have this point. They've introduced them that they're working on the case to have them go back into the dome, right? And then now they're just completely, whatever. They're either going to have that moment where all of a sudden they just start being like, wait, this isn't right. And all of a sudden they just come to their senses, or magically, which is an issue I had in our last review, is I feel like now certain things are moving too fast. I could just imagine them being like, well, good thing I had this here. And they pull some, a little device that they all have to protect themselves, and it's now we stay, it changed our physical, but mentally, we're blocking her out. They could have something.
Yeah, I know. Oh boy, I just wish they just got killed with the Westview wave. But I'm sure they'll be the inside SWAT team, and maybe Geraldine, Rambo, who becomes Geraldine. Maybe she'll have some, because she's been in and out before. Maybe there will be a little bit of the signal won't be as strong, and she kind of breaks through it and maybe kind of rallies the others. Because you can see it building to this climax of she's there, Rambo with the other people from S.W.O.R.D., and they're trying to stop Wanda. And, as Marvel always does, they build to this climax.
Wait, maybe Rambo will be the only one because remember how they're like, wait, you can't go back in there. Your
heart,
DNA, everything altered. So maybe once you've gone out and in, it doesn't affect you the same. So maybe she'll be the one that's still there, knowing, hey, this is all fake. This isn't right. And maybe she has to play the role with Wanda, but obviously she's so powerful, she probably know. But maybe she'll be the one in there, and she has to snap them out of it to get that team working on the inside.
Very interesting.
Ooh.
Maybe Kat Dennings can reprogram.
Coffee maker.
No, reprogram Vision's dead body.
Yeah, because astrophysicists are also really, really adept at engineering and computers, because that's the same thing.
That's what she went to school
in the
for.
Marvel universe. They're the same skills.
Well,
You just say science. You're a science person, so all fields of science you have at peak level. I get it. So I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
Just like
All
a MacGyver. So the big question, gentlemen, did this episode pop or not for you?
Billy.
Pop.
It popped for you?
Pop for me.
Yeah, it was a definite pop for me. It's a buttery bag of popcorn. This show is getting
It's getting good.
it gets more exciting each episode, for sure.
How about you, Nile?
Definitely popped. I was, when Vision started breaking through, I was on the edge of my seat. What is going to happen? Is he actually going to get through and then work with them to stop her? Or then all of a sudden, he was dying to me. I didn't know. And then all of a sudden they go back to Quicksilver, and he's like a zombie with a bullet wound in his chest. I'm like, what the heck is going on? I mean, and then the kids have powers and all this crazy things happen, and then she just blows it up and absorbs everyone in. And it's like, where the heck did you just leave me? And tomorrow night we'll find out.
Yes, we will.
Find out.
All right.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Beautiful.
3 pops and a snap. No.
3 pops and a snap and a drip of extra butter.
Oh, take
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in for another episode of Popped or Not WandaVision. This has been a blast with the Popped or Not crew. And again, if you like these reviews and you're enjoying what we're doing, please click that subscribe button, smash that bell to get notifications when we go live and when we upload some awesome new content. Very dirty. Dirty content. No.
Episode
Great
7
reviews. And look forward to seeing our review on episode 7. And we will see you all on the next Popped or Not.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us on POPXP. If you haven't already, make sure to click that subscribe button and also click the bell for notifications when we go live and we upload some awesome new content. Also, don't forget to head on over to Twitter and follow us at the POPXP and over on Instagram at the POPXP. Thanks again everyone, and we'll see you soon.